You're listening to the Touch 'em Up podcast. I'm your host, Double M, and on today's episode, we have UFC 276, Adesanya versus Cannonier, preview, predictions, and analysis. So without any further ado, let's get this started and step into the ring. All right. How is everybody doing tonight? I hope you guys are having a great night, day, afternoon, evening, morning, whenever you're deciding to tune in to the Touch 'em Up podcast and hear Double M break down these UFC 276 predictions for International Fight Week. Was this the first International Fight Week since COVID? No. Because the first one the first returning International Fight Week was 264, I believe. Yeah, Poirier versus McGregor 3. Yeah. That was the first one since the COVID era. But I'm excited to break these down. We have some great fights. There are some great fights that I'm not going to be breaking down on the podcast, not because I don't want to. The one that comes to mind, or two that come to mind off the top of my head, would be Jim Miller versus Cowboy Cerrone, and then Uriah Hall versus Andre Muniz. Excuse me. Those are ones that I'd like to break down, but I feel like the fights we are going to break down are more important, and I feel like they have a bigger impact on, not a bigger impact, but I feel like these are the ones that people want to hear more. Now, before I get into it, this is kind of something that's been irking me a little bit. Is like, okay, so I see a lot of these guys that break down fights and break down predictions, and they'll do full card predictions. I get it, okay? You want to break down 12, 14, 15 fights for a fight week? I understand it. I completely understand you. I know why you're doing it. Some people might want to hear the first fight on the prelim. Some people might want to hear, fights that other people may not be too interested in. And I get it, and I see those videos get tons of views. I see those podcast episodes, they get tons of views on YouTube because I believe it's because they title it Full Card Predictions, and I feel like that is what the algorithm likes. It's kind of just something I've been studying, and I feel like the YouTube algorithm likes when you title it Full Card Predictions. But the way I like to do my podcast is like, sure, I could sit here and break down, 14 fights if you want me to. Some fights would probably only be like a 4 or 5 minute breakdown. But do you want that? Would you rather sit here for 2.5 hours, 3 hours and listen to every fight get broken down? Or do you want the top 7 or 8 fights every week? This week we're doing 6 fights. Do you want the top 6 to 8 fights to be broken down instead, so I can give you a better analysis on the fights that are going to have more eyes, more intrigue, and more investment in? I feel like that's more important. I feel like that is what the MMA community wants to see across podcasting platforms, across Twitter, across Instagram, across YouTube. I mean, a lot of them might only tune into these prediction videos to hear the Sean O'Malley versus Pedro Munoz fight. Some people might only tune in to hear Strickland versus Pereira. Some people might only tune in to hear Volkanovski versus Holloway 3, because I know that's got a lot of eyes on it this weekend. But what is it that you guys want, And if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to the podcast, give me an idea. Like, leave me comments, leave me suggestions, inbox me, hit me up on Twitter at ArmbarNation316, hit me up on Instagram at GloriousMandM, that's GLORIOUSMANDM, hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on Twitter, DM me, it's okay, like I'm not going to push you away for contacting me in the DMs. This is the MMA community. If it's what you guys want to hear, let me know, because I want to get the biggest numbers I possibly can, but also show you guys why I am the best analytical and best breakdown podcast in the MMA community. And there's nobody that can touch me. I truly believe that. There's great podcasts out there. I love listening to them. I love the Die Hard MMA podcast. I mean, it's not my favorite, but I do like Clint and Wheezy's, input on a lot of these. I love the Weasel. I think he's fantastic at breaking things down. Brendan Dorman is also fantastic MMA analyst or MMA breakdown artist, or whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of guys on YouTube. MMA or We Want Picks is a pretty good one. I like to watch them. There's a lot on there. UFC Gambling Addicts is good. SE podcast or SE MMA. He's really good. I love listening to his stuff. I think he's fantastic at the way he breaks down fights. Kind of does it exactly like I do. I feel like the closest to what I give in my breakdowns and predictions would probably be the Weasel, who is coincidentally probably the biggest MMA YouTube personality on the planet right now. In my opinion, I think he's definitely the biggest. But that's just a little disclaimer or a little rant I wanted to go on before we get into the predictions. But let's cover the last card, which was the UFC Vegas 57 of Gamrot versus or Sarukian versus Gamrot. Went 5-1 overall in predictions. I did side with Yagos over Moises, and I just wasn't confident on the side of Thiago, but he shut me down. And he proved me wrong. So good win for Moises there. He took the back and submitted Yagos in the first round. Good on him. Thiago needed that win. The rest of the card, man, we were slicker than a snicker, and we were smooth as butter on that one. Honestly, I feel like we did great. I had a lot of parlays running last week, and we did win. We came out positive. I will say that. Cashed on a Mateos Gamrot by decision plus 500 odds. Did well on that one. I think a lot of people slept on that. I know everybody was siding with Armin. I know everybody was on Sarukian, but I told you guys that line was absolutely ridiculous, that Sarukian was almost 3-1 favorite, and that the fight would more than likely be going 25 minutes. I did not see either man getting a finish, depending on if it was on the feet or in the grappling. On the feet, obviously, I would have sided with Sarukian to get the finish, but on the ground, it was going to be Gamrot probably taking the back and locking up a rear naked choke, which he almost did in the fight. It was one of the most high-level fights I've ever seen. If you haven't watched that fight, please go back and watch Gamrot versus Sarukian from last weekend. Please. Or I guess it's this weekend. It's not even last weekend. It's a couple days ago. Just go back and watch it. Trust me. But for the bets we cashed on last week, it was Gamrot by decision at plus 500. And then I also had a parlay with Shavkat Rakhmonov and Carlos Olberg, which cashed for me. I had a lot of parlays that could have made me a lot of money. I had a Shavkat and Umar by submission that should have cashed, but Umar was not able to submit Nate Maness. He was able to survive. Obviously, Shavkat got that guillotine choke submission, so we were onto it there. I'm actually very surprised that Umar wasn't able to get the submission over Maness, but he's durable, he's tough, and he got dominated. But, I wasn't going to play the minus 900 on Umar. I just didn't think he was going to be durable enough to last, but the decision prop was a good one for anybody who played it. I had Chris Curtis in a couple of my parlays, but a lot of them were by knockout. Rodolfo Vieira surprised me. He got dominated. The takedown defense, man, I told you guys, I knew if Curtis got taken down by Vieira that it was going to be a wrap on the mat, but he wasn't able to get a takedown. I think he went 0 for 20 or 0 for 19, something like that in the fight. And I told you guys, man, that 86% takedown defense, which is definitely going to be up around 90% probably now after all those takedowns he stuffed against Vieira. But, man, that takedown defense was great. Vieira looked good on the feet, man. His jab looked good. The combinations looked good, but Curtis was winning it. Overall, the body work, that left uppercut to the body was money for Chris Curtis the entire night. And I'm honestly very surprised that Vieira was able to survive the full 15 minutes. The odds for the fight to go to decision was plus 2,000, I think, or something crazy like that. I think fight to go to, I think that was if you pick the side, Curtis to win by decision or Vieira to win by decision. I think to go the distance was plus 500, plus 475, something crazy like that. It was definitely not expected. A lot of people thought it was going to either be a submission victory for Vieira or a knockout for Chris Curtis, but it is what it is. We had Curtis Rakhmonov by submission. So my overall picks were Curtis by KO, Rakhmonov by submission, Umar by submission, Gamrot by 48-47 decision, which was right on the money. And then I had Yagos to beat Moises, and then there's another fight that I'm forgetting. Let me pull it up, I think. Pull it up real quick. Maybe not. Maybe I covered everything. Let's see. Prelims, maybe? Oh, Ulberg. I had Ulberg by KO. I had it by a head kick, but He got it at a minute and 15 seconds and just ran through Tafon. I understood why a lot of people were siding with Tafon Chukwi in the fight. Like, I get it, because like you saw the Kennedy and Jekwazu fight, how Olberg's chin isn't the best, and he does get clipped. He got clipped by Fabio Chiron, but man, Tafon was not the guy to beat Carlos Ulberg, and you saw that, man, just caught him with a beautiful check left hook, wobbled him, jumped on him, he landed a barrage of shots, and then put him out after he dropped him and then jumped on him on the ground. So a big win for Carlos Ulberg, exactly what he needed. I'm excited to see what's next for him. And yeah, I think overall it was a good night. Like I said, 5-1. We had Ulberg, Rachmanov, Mateus Gamrot, and I think that was it for the podcast. And then I had some other predictions on like my social media that I didn't break down on the podcast, which was like Yagos by decision, and then I had I feel like I had other ones too, but it doesn't matter. Good night, a winning night for us, and I hope to continue it this week. So we're gonna jump into UFC 276 right about now. All right, so like I said, we're gonna get into the UFC 276 predictions. Before we do, I do want to have the odds up as we're breaking everything down. Let me see if I got the. Usually, I like to look through best fight odds. They have decent odds for the week. Yeah, okay, here we go. So we're gonna start it off in the prelims in the UFC's middleweight division. You've got a battle between the number 12 ranked. Brad Tavares, UFC veteran, MMA veteran, back from the Ultimate Fighter series with Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz as coaches, and Tavares was on Team Liddell. That's a little bit of a throwback. That's how long Tavares has been in the UFC. Holds a record of 19-7 overall. Fought some of the best. I mean, fought Edmund Shabazian, fought Israel Adesanya early on in his UFC career, went to decision with him. He's fought Omari Akhmadov, fought Antonio Carlos Jr., fought Yoel Romero. I mean, Tavares has fought just about everybody in the who's who in the UFC's middleweight division, but he never can crack, that top 10, that top 7, like the top of the top in the UFC's middleweight division. And he's going up against the UFC newcomer who is 2-0 with 2 finishes in the UFC, in the former KSW. I believe he was the former KSW middleweight and welterweight champion. Yeah, because he made 170 back in the KSW days. So he was a double champ in KSW in Dricus Stillnox Duplessis, who comes into the fight with a record of 16 victories and 2 defeats, with, I believe, a ton of his victories are by finish. Yeah, they're all by finish. 7 KOs and 9 submission victories, 16-2 overall for Stillnox. The UFC's fighting pride of South Africa. And man, Duplessis versus Tavares is a fantastic matchup. It's a close one, man. It's not an easy fight to call on either side. When you look at a guy like Tavares, he's very methodical. He trains under Coach Eric Nixick out at Extreme Couture. He's a very methodical fighter. He likes to kind of keep you at bay and use his beautiful striking, and that is what Tavares has. I mean, he's got beautiful technique on the feet. Very good head movement, ability to slip left and right, slip inside, slip outside the shots, and come back on the counter. Good ability to pull and circle off. Got a really good jab, a good 1-2, and he likes to chop your leg with some low kicks. And he's got great takedown defense. If you look at his overall takedown defense in the UFC, he has a 79% takedown defense rate, 27% takedown accuracy, but man, the guy is not easy to take down. I mean, unless you're Yoel Romero, I believe Romero got a couple takedowns on him, and then I think he stuffed all the takedowns from Akhmedov, and he might have got taken down like once or twice by Antonio Carlos Jr., but the guy is not easy to take down, and even if you get Tavares down, he's going to be shrimping. He's going to be looking for that overhook, looking to bump his hips, work his way back up to the cage, and like I said, shrimp his hips, hip bumps, and get back up to his feet, use that overhook on under, and then turn you back against the cage and get back to the center. You're not going to keep Tavares down on the ground for long, even if you do get those takedowns. With the Dricus Duplessis, his overall takedown defense sits at a... Sorry, hold on. I don't know why it just gets stuck whenever I'm trying to talk about something. So overall takedown defense is non-existent actually. Nobody's ever shot a takedown on him. So we don't really know. But he's not easy to take down. And he's good on the ground. I think we kind of slept on his wrestling and jiu-jitsu and the grappling game in the UFC because he puts a lot of guys out. But he's got more victories by submission than he does by knockout. But his wins are finishes. He is a finisher. And I think on either side here, if the fight goes to a decision, I would probably see that leaning more towards the side of the veteran and Brad Tavares. But if there's a finish, I could see Tavares landing some good shots. He's got a beautiful high kicks, good left high kick, good right high kick, but it's probably going to be with the boxing and landing on the shin of Dricus and putting him out. He has been knocked out before. He got knocked out once and then submitted once back in KSW, I believe. I'm not sure if both losses came from KSW, but he has been finished. Never lost a decision, but also never gone to a decision and won on the judges' scorecards because he hasn't needed it. He just gets his finishes. This is a close fight. Like I said, man, it's not easy to pick either side. When you look at a guy like Duplessis, he's got very solid power. I mean, a lot of his punches, heavy power, good left body kicks. He likes to throw a lot of his body kicks from the lead side, the lead left body kick, the right hand and the lead left low kick, inside low kicks. He's very good from the lead side with his kicks. And I think that's something that a lot of MMA fighters at the highest level, they're getting better at, but I think that's something that's very unorthodox because a lot of the time when you're going to throw your body kicks, you're going to be coming from the rear side, your rear kick to the body, your rear outside low kick, depending on the stance combination. If it's orthodox versus orthodox, you're going to be coming with that right outside low kick. You're going to be coming with the right body kick. If it's southpaw, it's the right inside low kick, but it's usually going to come from the rear leg. If it comes from the lead leg, you're going to be looking to use that leg to usually get off on an angle. So inside low kick, knock the opponent off on balance and then get on an angle, or attack the inside low kick and then come in with a rear hand. You're going to like drag them into your power side by using that inside low kick. That's usually, it can be your outside low kick or your rear leg low kick if they're opposite stance because you can use it that way. But inside low kick is usually used as a, pulley effect where you're going to attack the inside, use it to pull them towards your power side, and boom, line up that right hand or left hand, depending on your stance. I think that the power in this fight definitely sides with Duplessis, and I think the technique on the feet sides with Tavares in the boxing. He's got good boxing, good jabs, good 1-2s, good outside low kicks. He's very good. I expect him to go to attack the calf of Duplessis in this fight. I think he's going to use the jab, use the right outside low kick, jab, left hook, right outside low kick, jab, feint the rear hand, right outside low kick. He's going to be looking to chop the low kicks. And then if he's able to slow down Duplessis, he can work up top with some shots to the head and land his boxing. Like I said, he's got a great striking technique. The guy is a veteran, and you see it in the way that he fights. Tavares isn't an easy out for anybody, but he's got some tough matches. I mean, he went to decision with Adesanya, which the longer Adesanya fights in his career, it doesn't look that impressive. But when he was getting all those finishes, the only guy to go the distance with Adesanya besides Marvin Vettori was Brad Tavares. And that fight, yes, he did get dominated, but he stayed in the fight, man. He never got dropped. He never got knocked down. He just stayed in the fight, kept his high guard, used his left and slipping his head left and right, getting on the outside, trying to come over the top of the jab with the overhand right, follow up with the left hook behind it, jab, left hook, right hand, 1-1-2. His 1-2s and his low kicks are his best weapons. The jab into the right outside low kick, the 1-2 outside low kick, jab, lead hook, right hand, jab, lead hook, right outside low kick, 1-2, pull, 2. But he doesn't throw a ton of combinations. Usually at the most, you're going to get 2 punches out of a Brad Tavares. Now, Duplessis doesn't throw a ton of combinations, but he just mixes it up very well. And, you come into the fights thinking he's going to knock you out, but we looked at the record. He's got more submissions than he does knockouts, but he's got the grappling. You saw it showcased against his last fight with Trevin Giles at UFC 264. He was able to tie him up, able to go with I guess it wasn't a double leg. Yeah, you know what? That's kind of what it was. It was like a double leg takedown. He turned the corner, pivoted, and was able to take him down, get on top. He had the back of Trevin Giles, and he was able to reach around to the front, get the head and arm position and try to lock up a guillotine before the end of the first round. He was able to, where you have like that back side referee's position where you have like the one hook in and you reach to the opposite side, grab the head and arm, and then you bring your shin and knee through the middle, going across, and then the opposite foot goes to the opposite hip and you lock up that arm and guillotine. You saw the Fluffy Hernandez use that against Adolfo Vieira when he submitted him. You've seen guys like, who else uses that very well? We saw Duplessis use it. We've seen, there's somebody I'm forgetting, and it's really going to bug me, who uses that reach around to the opposite side, shin across the belly, guillotine. I think, was it David Branch who used it? Oh, Jack Hermanson. That's it. That's who I couldn't think of. It's his Joker team, the Joker team. Man, I'm glad I remembered that. He's probably the most effective at using that, reaching around from like the referee's position and then getting the shin across the belly, opposite foot to the opposite hip, and then using it to lock up the neck. It's a very awkward position because usually when you have the back or you're in that backside position, people are going to expect you to put both hooks in or expect you to attack the neck with a rear naked choke. But when you reach around, it kind of puts them at a different position and it kind of tricks him up and you can lock that up. He's got that. We saw it showcased against Giles, but he wasn't able to get it. But he can switch from submission to submission and use his positions very well. And I could see him using the wrestling against Tavares, but Tavares is not easy to take down. Like I said, overall, you're looking at a 79% takedown defense. So even if Dricus does get him down, he does have the ability to get back up to his feet. When you look at the striking overall, Dricus is going to have a 2-inch reach advantage, and they're going to be equal in height. I expect that reach advantage to play a little bit of a factor here. Average fight time, this is big, 13 minutes and 2 seconds for Tavares to 5 minutes and 2 seconds for Dricus. Part of me thinks that a lot of that is just because he's only had 2 fights in the UFC. I don't think this plays into his average fight time overall in MMA, but he has gotten 2 finishes back-to-back in the UFC, knocking out Marcus Perez with that left hook as he went for a spinning elbow up against the cage, and then obviously that right hand he caught Trevin Giles with as he kind of leaped in off the cage and caught him with his hands down as he was backing up in a straight line. Looking at striking and significant strikes, you got 3.18 significant strikes landed per minute for Brad Tavares compared to 5.07 for Dricus Duplessis. Significant strike percentage overall, Duplessis has the advantage there at 48%, 42% striking accuracy for significant strike accuracy for Brad Tavares. Strikes absorbed per minute, neck and neck, but Tavares does take a little bit more when it comes to marginally breaking it down. 2.76 significant strikes absorbed per minute for Tavares to 2.39 for Dricus still knocks Duplessis. Defense overall, Duplessis has a much better defense. 57% defense for Brad Tavares to a 68% striking defense for Duplessis. Duplessis, I'm sorry. And then you look at the grappling. This is where it's going to side heavily with Duplessis. 0.91 takedowns per 15-minute fight for the veteran in Tavares to 2.99. You're looking at 3 takedowns per 15-minute fight when it comes to Duplessis. And then takedown accuracy, a 50% takedown accuracy, but when you're getting 3 takedowns a fight, you're going to be relentless with it. I think we're going to see Duplessis use the wrestling early on to try to, maybe, or at the end of rounds to maybe steal rounds when it's close, but I do think we'll see Duplessis use his grappling, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu to try to maybe lock up a submission and get Tavares out of there. When you look at, like I said, takedown defense, we don't really have the stats for the former KSW champion because he hasn't been taken down in the UFC, but 79% takedown defense rate for Tavares. Honestly, when it comes down to it, I think that technically on the feet, Tavares is the better fighter. He's better technically. He's got more sharp striking, but he's not as big on the volume, and I don't think he's as big of a threat on the feet as Duplessis. Duplessis has more power. Duplessis has the ability to shut out the lights on Brad Tavares. He has the ability to lock up a submission. He has the ability to get the takedowns, hurt him on the feet, land at awkward angles, and just put that power on his chin. Duplessis' defense, stats-wise, it looks good, but it's not the best. He kind of just has looked a little timid and, gun shy in early on in these fights. Like maybe the first 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, it looks like he's kind of like really like timid and he's really rigid in his movement and he's kind of plodding around and he looks a little bit like, oh, what's going to happen? Like he's a little nervous. He's got that nervous energy to him, but he still finds a way to get a finish. I think we're going to see a more comfortable Duplessis here. It's his third fight in the promotion. I think he's going to be a little bit more comfortable. I think we're going to see the combinations flow a little bit better. I do think Tavares has the chance to catch him and hurt him. I think with the striking technique that he has, the ability to use his lateral movement, set up angles to land the left hook, land the 1-2, he can hurt Duplessis on the feet. But overall, I think that Duplessis is the more dangerous fighter. I think he packs the more dangerous power. And I think that if there's going to be a finish on the side of either guy, I would lean towards Dricus still knocks Duplessis to put Tavares out either with a submission or a knockout. And when it comes to the prediction here, I think the lead body kicks from Duplessis are going to be big, but he's going to have to watch out for the counter right hand down the center if he just doesn't set those kicks up. Sometimes he throws naked kicks. You're going to have to watch out against Tavares. You don't want to get caught with a straight shot down the middle and then have him follow up because he does have good technique. And usually if you're sharp with your shots, catch him on the right angle, you can put him out or drop him and hurt him. I think that the power in the kicking game is on the side of Duplessis. I think the power in the hands is on the side of Duplessis. The knockout power, the overall power advantage is on the Duplessis side. I think the jiu-jitsu advantage is on the Dricus Duplessis side. I think the wrestling advantage is on the Duplessis side because I don't think we're going to see Tavares use his wrestling. He's going to want to use it defensively to keep it on the feet. I think defensive wrestling is on the side of Tavares, but offensive wrestling and jiu-jitsu is on the side of Duplessis. And when it comes to making a pick for the fight, I'm going to have to side with Still Knox. I have to side with Duplessis. I think that he's got the power to shut him down. I think he's going to use his wrestling to kind of get Tavares a little timid on the feet, maybe use it to get into clinch positions and then strike off the break. But I think he's eventually going to land that right hand, land one of those shots to the body, the left body kicks. You know, he'll switch kick. He'll step into southpaw, land the left body kick. He'll lead left body kick, lead left high kick. The power in the left kicks is very good, and he uses it a lot. And I think he's going to eventually just find the shot, land that right hand on the chin of Tavares, drop him, jump on him, and get another finish. I think he's going to go 3-0 in the UFC with 3 finishes. So my pick is Dricus Still Knocks Duplessis to defeat the number 12 ranked Brad Tavares via a I'll go second round knockout. I think he's going to be durable to last in the first round. It's going to be close, but I think in the second round, that's where Dricus finds the opening, cracks him with that straight right hand, drops him, and gets the finish. I think it could be similar to the Edmund Shabazian finish, just not as pretty. I don't think it's going to be that one-sided, but I do think Still Knox cracks the chin of Tavares and gets the finish in the second round. So Dricus Still Knocks Duplessis to defeat Brad Tavares via a second round knockout. And then when you look at the odds for the fight overall, you're looking at, let's see, Tavares is a plus 105 underdog to Dricus is a minus 125. I would hammer that minus 125. I think that Duplessis should win this fight. I think it's close, so if you want to stay away from it, I understand. But I definitely think at minus 125, playing Duplessis, maybe you wait and play Duplessis to win by a knockout or submission. Just him to win by a finish, you might want to go that route. Maybe fight doesn't go the distance. But I do think Dricus gets the finish, and I think at minus 125, he's a good money line play for the week. All right, let's continue it with another prelim in the UFC's lightweight division. You've got a battle between the number 14 ranked Brad Quake Riddell, who comes into the fight with a record of 10 victories and 2 defeats, going up against Jalen the Tarantula Turner, who comes back with a record of 12 victories and 5 defeats. All right, guys, I'm going to be completely honest here. I guess I don't have to get into the pick right away because you want to hear the breakdown, right? You want to hear the analysis, but I feel like I hear so many people counting Brad Riddell out in this fight. I know they're saying the height advantage for Jalen Turner. Oh my God, his height advantage. Oh my God, he's so much longer, so much taller. It's going to be so hard for Riddell to get on the inside. Oh, he's got such better grappling, such better top control, such better submissions. I get it, man. I get it. And Turner is on a 4-fight win streak or 5-fight win streak currently. We'll pull that up actually because I would like to see that. Let's see. So Turner, 12-5, 9 wins by KO, 3 submissions, no decision. So all 12 wins coming by way of finish. He's on a 4-fight win streak. He's got a TKO over Joshua Kulabau, which looks good after Kulabau's last win. A rear naked choke submission over Brock Weaver, and take it or leave it. I mean, it's Brock Weaver. A submission over Uros Medic, where he took him down, got on top of him, took his back, and submitted him early. 4 minutes, 1 second into the first round. Medic doesn't really have too much of a ground game, but he looked very good, very polished, and amazing against Omar Morales. Just a fantastic fight, and a fight where I counted out Uros Medic heavily. I had a lot of parlays with Omar Morales, and Uros Medic shut that shit down. So good on Medic there. And then he's got a TKO in the second round at 46 seconds over Jamie Malarkey. Now, Malarkey and Brad Riddell did fight. I believe that was actually Riddell's first fight in the UFC. We're going to check that just to make sure. Riddell is 10-2 overall, 6 KOs, 5 KOs and 5 decisions. So half and half. 2 losses, 1 by KO, and then 1 by submission. The loss by KO came to a former teammate and a longtime friend of Riddell in Rafael Fiziev. They both worked out at Tiger Muay Thai with the Hickman brothers, George and Frank. And yeah, that was a tough fight for the Hickman brothers to watch as well. So it was, I'm sorry that they had to watch that, man, but that was a great fight. I was really looking forward to it. But Riddell's coming off a loss to Fiziev. But before that, he was on a 4-fight win streak in the UFC with wins over Jamie Malarkey, who was his first fight in the UFC at UFC 243 back in October of 2019. He won that via unanimous decision, but it was a back-and-forth fight, a back-and-forth war. Split decision win over Magomed Mustafayev, a unanimous decision over Alex De Silva, which looks good after the Joe Solecki fight that he just had, and then a decision victory over Drew Dober. So Dober, Alex De Silva, Magomed Mustafayev, and Jamie Malarkey, and then that loss recently to Rafael Fiziev back in December of 2021 with that spinning wheel kick. But it was a back-and-forth fight. Fiziev definitely did look a little bit faster, and he looked a little bit more smooth and relaxed. Riddell looked a little timid. He looked a little bit, stiff, but he was landing heavy shots. He was landing the left hook. He was landing the 1-2, landing the 2-3, and looked better as the fight went on, obviously, until he circled the wrong way up against the cage and got hit with that wheel kick. But, man, when it comes to the striking, you're going to have orthodox versus southpaw. So Riddell's going to be looking to get that outside lead left foot on the lead right foot of Jalen Turner. Now, you look at the overall stats. This is where people are heavily favoring Jalen Turner. You've got let's see. Go to the prelims because that was the early prelims. Here we go. So you look at the stats, man. It's a huge height advantage. 6'3" for Turner to 5'7" for Riddell. So Turner's going to have a 7-inch height advantage, right? So 5'7" to 5'11", 6 feet, 6'3", an 8-inch height advantage, actually. So he's going to have an 8-inch height advantage and a 6-inch reach advantage. That's going to be hard for anybody to get on the inside of. Like, Riddell's going to have to use a lot of fakes and feints. He's going to have to try to use a lot of lateral movement, get that outside foot, and dart his way in. It's going to be hard because, obviously, when it comes to Turner, you look at him, he reminds me a little bit of like a John Jones, Anderson Silva hybrid. I'm not saying he's on the level of a John Jones. I'm not saying he's on the level of a Anderson Silva, but the fight style that he uses, it's a lot of poking and prodding, staying at a distance. So it really reminds me of John Jones. Like 100% honesty, the fight style reminds me of John Jones. He's going to be staying at a distance. So, he's fighting in a southpaw stance. He's going to use that left front kick to the body, the left round kick to the body, the right hook, the straight left, jab, right hook, left kick to the body, left front kick. Sometimes he throws the front kick like a round kick. So it's almost like a hybrid between a round kick and a side kick, and it comes in at an awkward angle and just stabs right to the body. He's going to be looking to land that against Riddell. You're going to want to keep him at a distance. So it's going to be jab, front kick, lead front kick, hook, rear body kick, rear front kick, jab, rear front kick. It's going to be a lot of round kicks and front kicks to the body for Jalen Turner from that southpaw stance, and using the check hook over the jab of Riddell to keep him at range, keep him at a distance, and poke and prod his way to eventually looking to set up those power shots. Turner's got some power, man. He's got that right hook, that straight left. He puts his combinations together, can land 3, 4, 5 punch combinations. If he hurts Riddell and swarms him, it's going to be very hard for Riddell to survive. Now, I know Riddell's coming off that knockout over against Rafael Fiziev, a wheel kick KO. Took a lot of damage there. He's taken damage in his fights before, got hurt by Drew Dober, was able to resort to the wrestling, survive, then come back and hurt Dober. Got hurt against Jamie Malarkey, came back and hurt Jamie Malarkey. Landed some good shots on Fiziev, but I don't think there was a point where Fiziev was wobbled or hurt, but he has some power as well. The more technical and sharp striker, 100% is Brad Riddell. And I think that's where people are forgetting that he also has really solid wrestling. You look at let's go to the takedowns. The grappling, he lands 1.87 takedowns per 15-minute fight, which is actually a little bit higher than Jalen Turner, who lands 1.16. But a lot of the time, he likes to keep it on the feet. But lately, he's been showcasing his takedown, his top game, and his ability to take the back and lock up a submission. Takedown accuracy is higher on the side of Turner, but he doesn't use it much. 80% takedown accuracy, 39% takedown accuracy for Riddell, but he uses it at the right time. Takedown defense, 62% for Riddell to 76% for Turner. Even though Turner has the higher takedown defense, I do think if Riddell starts landing those combinations and he's able to get inside of Turner, he's going to look to push him against the cage and probably work some inside and outside trips and get some takedowns. I think we can see Riddell use these takedowns to find, wins at the end of the round. Submission average is going to be on the side of Turner because even though Riddell does use his takedowns, he's not going to look for a submission. 1.73 submissions per 15-minute fight for Jalen Turner. He's going to look to set up those rear naked chokes. He's going to look to get the front chokes. He's going to look to try to submit you. We've seen it showcase more and more lately in his UFC career. When you look at the striking, significant strikes landed per minute, 4.76 for Riddell to 6.51 for Turner. Significant strike accuracy rate, I don't think this is a surprise, 53% accuracy for Riddell to 47% for Turner. Riddell's going to be higher on the accuracy. Strikes absorbed per minute, 3.55 for Riddell to 4.34 for Turner. Turner's very long, tall, rangy. Normally, you don't use high guards. You just use that long guard, extend with the lead hand and back up, and that can lead you to get caught over the top, get caught, coming in, stepping in, because you're so tall and rangy that you don't really have to rely on keeping your hands high in a high guard. I think that can be the nail in the coffin for Turner in this fight, but we'll get to that later on. Defense overall, again, is going to be on the side of Brad Riddell with a 52% striking defense to a 44% striking defense for Jalen the Tarantula Turner. We talked about the grappling. We talked about the striking. The biggest thing here is going to be Riddell getting past that reach and height advantage. He's going to have to find his way to get inside, get away from those kicks and land the combinations in boxing range. He's a good kicker, but I don't know if we're going to see him play at kicking range too much. I do think we'll see him look to attack the calf, but he's going to have to feint with the rear hand, which people at City Kickboxing are very good at. Izzy uses it a lot. Dan Hooker uses it a lot. Volkanovski's probably the best at it, feinting with the rear hand, using it to shuffle, step in, pop the jab, feinting, using it to shuffle, step in, angle off to your lead side with a little triangle step, and then pop the jab, pop the jab. Do that again, boom, angle step to the rear side, feint, switch stance, straight left, right hook. I think we're going to see a lot of that dragging the rear foot forward to close the distance and give the illusion that you might be a little bit further away than you are. And then Riddell's going to step in with the 1-2, step in with the 2-3, step in with the jab, lead hook, right hand, step in with the 2 into the 3. He's got a beautiful left hook. Beautiful left hook. And when you're fighting orthodox versus southpaw, you're going to be looking to get that outside foot, like we said, and use the check hook into the power hand. Turner's going to be looking to jab, right hook, straight left. Riddell's going to be looking to jab, left hook, straight right, because they're opposite stances. And when he starts landing those combinations, I think Riddell is levels above Turner on the feet. And I think Turner is very, very good. I think he uses his reach. He uses his range. He uses his submissions. He's very good on the feet. But technical-wise, and the ability to set things up with the fakes and feints, that's on the side of Quake Riddell all day. And I can't believe how many people are sleeping on him. I do think that it is a dangerous fight for both guys. I do think that Turner does have the ability to hurt Riddell at range, keep him at a distance, poke and prod, and hurt him, because we've seen Riddell get hurt in the past. But I also think Riddell is one of the most high-level strikers in the game. And I think that even with that heighted disadvantage, the reach disadvantage, he's going to use those fakes and feints. He's going to find a way to step in. He's going to use his wrestling later on in the rounds to try to seal those rounds. But I think he's going to find his way in, crack Jalen Turner over the jab with that left hook, crack him with the right straight to the body, the jab inside low kicks. He's going to attack the low kicks on the long tall, rangy guy who doesn't have the biggest legs. I think he's going to chop those low kicks, feint with the hands, outside low kick, feint with the hand, inside low kick, left hook into the right hand. We're going to see that a lot. I think the inside kick to drag him to the lead side, left hook, right hand, jab, that's going to be a big weapon for Riddell. And I think the combinations are going to catch Jalen Turner the longer the fight goes. I know he's on a win streak, but his overall record isn't the greatest either. He's 12-5. You're forgetting that Jalen Turner has been finished before. He got finished by Vicente Luque brutally, and I think that started with the low kicks. You know, he got finished by he lost a decision to Matt Frivola. Like I said, got knocked out by Vicente Luque in the first round. That was at 170. Lost to Richard Leroy by TKO. He lost a decision to Andrew Lagond, and then a TKO to Ronnie Borjan. So he has been KO'd before. And the long rangy frame is good, but if Riddell closes that distance and starts banging that left hook, starts banging the right hand in the left hook, starts banging the jab, hook, cross, fade back to the rear side. He's very solid and sneaky at fading off to his rear side to avoid the power and then coming back over the top to crack you with that right hand. He did it against Drew Dober and hurt him, and that was against the southpaw. Fading off to the rear side to avoid the straight left, coming back right hand, boom, left hook. I think we're going to see that. The combinations, the calf kicks, and the ability to close the distance is going to keep picking up for Riddell over the 15 minutes. And I think we're going to get a second round TKO victory for the slight underdog in Brad Quake Riddell. I think this is a fight that he can definitely win. And I think that too many people are giving Jalen Turner credit. I know he's looked great. I know he's really tall. I know he's really rangy. I know he uses his kicks very well. His striking is good. He's got power. He's a technical guy, but he's not as technical as Riddell on the feet. And Riddell's going to find a way to close that distance, use the fakes and feints to trick up Jalen Turner or get him to overcommit. Boom, bang that right hand over the jab or over the straight left, off on that angle. Bang the left hook over the lead jab of Turner as he steps in, slips his head off the center line, comes back with a left hook, slips his head to the rear side, quick sits, boom, come back with the right hand over the missed cross from Jalen Turner on the left side. He's going to hurt him, jump on him, attack those calf kicks so he can't move around as good, and he's going to put him out. So my pick is the plus 105, I believe. Let me check. Yes, the plus 120, actually. The plus 120 underdog in Brad Quake Riddell, who's ranked 14th in the division, to defeat Jalen the Tarantula Turner via a second round TKO victory. I think the technique on the feet, the ability to counter with that left hook, the ability to close that distance after landing some calf kicks and putting the investment in the bank, I got to side with Riddell. He's just a way better striker on the feet technique-wise, and I think he's going to use his wrestling at points where he definitely needs to if it gets to that point. So Brad Quake Riddell to defeat Jalen the Tarantula Turner via second round TKO victory. And he's, like I said, plus 120 underdog. I think you should play it. It's a risky fight, playing on the Turner side. You should definitely not hammer the Turner side. I think people are a little bit crazy hammering that side, but I do think the underdog play is good this week on Quake Riddell and to start off the roll for City Kickboxing throughout the night. All right, and now we move to the first fight on the main card in the UFC's bantamweight division, a fight that a lot of people are looking forward to, a fight that all the Sugar Sean O'Malley fans are going to be clamoring for. It's a battle in the bantamweight division with the chance for Sugar Sean O'Malley to crack into the top 10 as he takes on the number 10 ranked Pedro the Young Punisher Munoz, who comes in with a record of 19 victories, 7 losses, and 1 no contest. On the other side, O'Malley, ranked number 13 in the division, comes back with a record of 15 victories and 1 defeat. The only loss coming to Marlon Chito Vera back at UFC 252, I believe, where he was able to land those calf kicks, slow down Sean O'Malley, jump on top of him, get in the guard, and land vicious elbows and a hammer fist to put him out. A lot of people call it controversial. I don't. But looking at this fight with Munoz and O'Malley, this is the most favorable matchup for Sean O'Malley to crack into the top 10. And that's just what it is. This breakdown isn't going to be the longest on the podcast. This isn't going to be the craziest breakdown and the most technical. It's literally the easiest fight for O'Malley. And it's not an easy fight at all. I don't think that Munoz is an easy out. He's durable. He's powerful. He definitely has more power than Sean O'Malley does, and he's very good with the calf kicks. That's one thing that O'Malley's going to have to look out for. We've seen it be trouble for him before in the fight against Marlon Chito Vera, which is his only professional defeat, even though he says he's still undefeated. That just fucking bugs the shit out of me, man. That he still says, "Oh, I'm still undefeated." Nah, man, you lost. Whether you think it was a good loss, whether you think you didn't really lose, whether you think you slipped on a banana peel and you farted at the same time, and maybe that the shit smell that came from the fart caused you to pass out and you didn't really lose, dude. I'm sorry, you fucking lost. And a loss is a loss. You didn't lose by a decision. You didn't get robbed by the judges. You got put out. You went out for a second. No matter what you say, you went out. But I don't want this to be a shit on Sean O'Malley day or anything like that, because like I said, this is one of his more favorable matchups in the top 10. And Munoz is really solid with the calf kicks. He's going to be looking to close that distance, chop the lead leg. Every time O'Malley throws the jab, he's going to be looking to slip inside of it. Boom, crack that outside low kick. Come back with a left hook on the return. Right outside low kick into the left hook. Right outside low kick. Fake the low kick. Come over the top of the jab with the overhand right. O'Malley is going to have to look out because Pedro Munoz has a lot of power. He sat down Dominic Cruz in the first round of their fight. That was his last fight. Sat him down twice, actually. Almost got him out of there. Wasn't able to do it. And then Cruz just kind of outclassed him, was too quick for him, kind of just picked him apart as he stepped in, just pop, 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 pop. The volume was too much. He was hitting him every chance he got. The Jose Aldo fight, he got outclassed. Aldo was way too quick for him. He landed almost every shot that he threw. I mean, it was the best that Aldo's looked in a really long time. It might be the best performance or one of the best performances of Aldo's career against Munoz at UFC 262, was it? 261? Maybe 263. Hold on, I can't think of it. Let's see. Yeah, okay. UFC 265. Man, I was off completely. Lost via decision in a 3-rounder to Aldo. And then he beat Jimmy Rivera via decision in a great fight. That was at UFC Fight Night Rosenstruck versus Gane back in February of 2021. Fantastic fight there. A great fight. If you never watched that, that was actually a rematch from back in the day. Go back and watch that fight between Munoz and Rivera. Back and forth. Great fight. But he came back. He lost a decision that was dominant to Aldo. And then he had a few moments early on against Cruz. Dropped him, hurt him. Caught him off a stance switch and banged him with the right hand, I believe, and then caught him up against the cage and dropped him. Looked like he was going to be out, but he was able to survive, Granby roll, get back up, and then just work the game that Dominic Cruz works, and he landed a lot of shots on Munoz. And then before the win to Jimmy Rivera, he lost a decision to Frankie Edgar. A lot of people thought that Munoz won that fight, at least run 3 out of the 5 rounds. I think Edgar did enough to get it, and that was Edgar's only win at 135, I believe. So doesn't look the greatest for the young Punisher there. Had a couple canceled fights with Rivera, a couple canceled fights with Frankie Edgar. He lost the decision to Aljamain Sterling, which I was actually there live for. That was at UFC 238 back in June of 2019. Lost a 3-rounder there, and then before that, it was a knockout to Cody Garbrandt. So a knockout over Cody Garbrandt and a decision victory over Jimmy Rivera. A decision lost in a dominant fashion to Aldo. A decision loss to Dominic Cruz. And then a questionable decision loss to Frankie the Answer Edgar in a fight that a lot of people believe that he won. So the knockout over Garbrandt and the decision over Rivera are the best wins for him in his career, definitely lately. He's got a submission victory over Rob Font. I mean, he's fought the best of the best. Cruz, Aldo, Font, Rivera a couple times, Aljamain Sterling. He's fought the best of the best. Cody Garbrandt, he's fought the who's who at 135 pounds. So you look at his record, 19-7. It doesn't look great, but he still has fought the who's who. Now, O'Malley, 15-1, lost to Marlon Chito Vera. After that, he had a first-round knockout victory over Raulian Paiva. And then I believe he had another victory prior to that. It was against Chris Moutinho, where he just beat the absolute living shit out of him. That was a crazy fight. And Munoz is or Moutinho. Moutinho's durable. He lasted, but man, that was a crazy fight. A third round TKO. The ref stopped it at 4 minutes and 33 seconds of the third round. But damn, I mean, he landed, I think, like 400 or 500 strikes to the head of Moutinho. Before that, it was a knockout over Thomas Almeida. Questionable durability on a lot of losses, and wasn't the best, but I did pick Almeida to win that fight against O'Malley, so I looked bad there, but I did pick O'Malley to knock out Paiva, and that's exactly what happened in the first round. Right hand over the jab, still a bunch of switch stance combinations. 1-2, right uppercut, switch stance, left hook, right uppercut, right hook, jab, bop, 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 straight left, right hook, right uppercut, straight left, right uppercut, right hook, do, and then he got him out of there. Before that, like I said, first round TKO after those calf kicks in the ground and pound to Marlon Vera. Before that, it was a knockout over Eddie Wineland, feint the uppercut, throw the right hand, boom. Before that, a knockout over Jose Alberto Quinones. Before that, it was a decision over Andre Sukumtat. That's where he hurt his leg. I believe that was due to calf kicks as well. So O'Malley has definitely had some adversity he's had to overcome, and he wasn't that successful with it against Marlon Chito Vera. So the calf kicks against one of the best kickers in the division, that's definitely going to be a problem for O'Malley. And I definitely think if Munoz can get in the face of O'Malley, get past that reach, and land those calf kicks as he throws the jab, come back with a left hook, come back with the overhand right, feint the right low kick, overhand right, left hook, right low kick, 1-2, left hook, right low kick. It's going to be a lot of Dutchy combinations, a lot of old school Muay Thai combos for Munoz. But the more technical guy is going to be O'Malley. O'Malley's a lot more technical. He's a lot more crisp, a lot sharper on the feet. You look at the overall stats, he's going to have a 5-inch height advantage. Munoz comes in 5'6", 5'11" for Sean O'Malley. And then the reach, it's going to be a 7-inch, right? 64, 60, 7.5-inch reach advantage for O'Malley. Pedro Munoz comes in 64.5-inch reach compared to 72-inch reach for the Sugar Show. You look at overall significant strikes. Sean O'Malley lands 8.26 significant strikes per 15 minutes. Munoz comes back at 5.5, big advantage there for O'Malley. 62% accuracy, so he's throwing 8.26 or landing 8.26 strikes per minute, and also having a 62% significant strike accuracy. Munoz lands 5.5 and comes back with 43% striking accuracy. 6.09 strikes absorbed per minute, 2 for Munoz. So he's definitely hittable. He's there to be hit. 3.52 strikes absorbed per minute for Sugar Sean O'Malley. 58% defense for Munoz, and then a 66% defense for O'Malley. Grappling should be a little bit more on the side of Munoz. 0.57 takedowns per 15-minute fight. 0.59 takedowns per 15-minute fight for O'Malley. 20% takedown accuracy for Munoz, 50% takedown accuracy for O'Malley, but I wouldn't read too much into that. Takedown defense, an 81% defense rate for Pedro Munoz to a 64% defense rate for O'Malley. So I think we might see Munoz try to use his wrestling to use his jiu-jitsu, look to let it set up a leg lock, play the Ashigarami game. Maybe he hurts him on the feet, looks to lock up a guillotine choke in the front headlock. Excuse me. And then submission average per 15-minute fight, 0.65 for Pedro Munoz to 0.59 for Sugar Sean O'Malley. I'm going to be completely honest here. Yes, Munoz is a veteran. Yes, Munoz is durable. Yes, Munoz has power. He's one of the best calf kickers in the game. If he doesn't get on those calf kicks early and often, he's going to get picked apart at range by Sean O'Malley. And I already said I'm not the biggest fan of Sean O'Malley. I never have been. But he's good. He's technical. He's fast. He's got good movement. He's got good combinations. His kicking game is great. His hands are good. The skinny Post Malone is definitely a lot better than people may give him credit for just because of the hate. But breaking it down technically, I think he's levels above Munoz in terms of the speed. It's going to be all on the side of Sean O'Malley. This technique with the punches is going to be on the side of O'Malley. The power in the hands is going to be on the side of Pedro Munoz, and the power in the calf kicks and the jiu-jitsu is going to be on the side of the young Punisher and Pedro Munoz as well. I think this is a very favorable matchup for O'Malley. I think the distance that he uses, the movement, the speed in his punches, the combinations, I think this is a fight where Munoz is going to find it very difficult to close the distance on O'Malley, and he's going to get picked apart at range. The jab, the 1-2, the 1-2-3, the 3-2, the jab cross, the jab cross, uppercut, left hook, right hand. I mean, there's going to be just combinations flowing at the head of Pedro Munoz, and it could be similar to the Aldo fight. I could see it being very similar, but I mean, O'Malley doesn't have the same power that Aldo has. Munoz is a very durable guy. He's never been KO'd in his entire career, and he's been hurt before. I believe he got hurt by Jimmy Rivera. I think Cruz wobbled him at a certain point, but man, he can take a lot of shots. Aldo never hurt him. He landed a ton of shots with a ton of power. I mean, I know people are saying that Munoz is durable. He's never been KO'd. It's true, but man, he takes a lot of hits. He takes a lot of damage. I think that Munoz definitely's got a shot here. I wouldn't be surprised if he chops him early with those calf kicks and then uses that to close the distance and land his hands on him. The left hook, the overhand right, the overhand left, they're all heavy power from Munoz. He's got heavy power. But I think the reach advantage, the poke and prod, the jabs, the teep kicks, the tornado round kicks, the lead leg question mark kicks. I mean, the round kick, the 1-2 front kick to the body, the 1-2-3, the rear uppercut, the feint, the rear right hand, shuffle off, rear uppercut, left hook, right hand, rear uppercut, fade back, right hand. I think this is another showcase bout for O'Malley. I think Paiva was a showcase bout, and that proved to be correct. I think that this fight against Pedro Munoz is a showcase bout, and also the ability for Sugar Sean O'Malley to crack into the top 10. I don't think O'Malley gets into the top 5. I don't ever think he's going to be a number 1 contender, and I don't think he'll be a champion at 135. I've said that forever, and I'm sticking to it. But I do think he will get past Munoz here. I think that this is kind of an unfortunate matchup for Munoz. He fights the toughest of the tough. I mean, Jimmy Rivera, Jose Aldo, Dominic Cruz. That's a killer's row. That's a murderer's row at 135 pounds. Cody Garbrandt. I mean, he's fought Cody Garbrandt, Rob Font, Aljamain Sterling, Dominic Cruz, Jose Aldo. He's fought the best of the best. He's got the higher experience advantage. He's fought the best veterans in the sport. If anybody can pull it off, I could see Munoz pulling off the upset by chopping those calf kicks, making him wobble, landing on the feet, and potentially locking up a submission, or just getting a finish with the calf kicks when O'Malley can't step on it, goes down. We've seen him have problems with the calf kicks before, like I said. But overall, I got to go with Sugar Sean O'Malley here. I think he is going to be the first person to finish Pedro Munoz. I know a lot of people are saying Munoz is durable. He is. He's definitely a durable guy. He takes a lot of shots and comes forward, and he doesn't get put away. But I think this is the fight where, with everybody, it doesn't matter who it is, the damage you take and the shots you take catch up to you. And I think this is the fight where it catches up to Munoz. I think O'Malley lands that right hand, lands a beautiful combination, stuns him with a right hand, the right uppercut, lands the 1-2 down the middle. He wobbles him. He jumps on him with a combination uppercut, left hook, right hand, left hook, rear, right, high kick, jab, right hand, switch stance, straight left, right hook, straight left, rip to the body. He gets him up against the cage, gets a flurry, drops him, and the ref jumps in and stops it. So my pick is the number 13 ranked Sugar Sean O'Malley to defeat the number 10 ranked Pedro the Young Punisher Munoz via a second round TKO victory. I know a lot of people are going to run the decision. I think O'Malley is the side here. If you're going to bet, O'Malley's a big favorite at, let's see. O'Malley is sitting at a minus 260 favorite to the plus 220 dog. I know you're going to be chomping at the bit for that plus 220, plus 230 at some places, but don't take the bait. Don't take the bait. I could see a lot of people riding Munoz because of the competition he's fought, but this is a tailor-made matchup for Sean O'Malley, and he's at a minus 260. If you're going to play O'Malley, either play him by a finish, play him by a decision, or just play him straight up. But if you play him straight, you play him in a parlay with 2 or 3 other guys and get those odds a little bit more in your favor. I wouldn't play O'Malley on the money line at a straight-up bet at a minus 260. It's just not worth it. If you put him in a parlay, that's fine. If you're going to play him single, play him by either knockout or decision. I'm picking a KO, but I could see Munoz being durable enough. But play him on that side if you're going to play him straight up. If you're going to put him in a parlay, then just play the money line, baby. That's how it goes. But my pick is Sugar Sean O'Malley to defeat Pedro the Young Punisher Munoz via a second round TKO victory and crack into that top 10 at 135 pounds. All right, and now we move to the featured bout of the evening in the UFC's middleweight division. and what I believe to be probably everybody's most look forward to fight on the card, or the most look forward to fight on the card in general. It's a battle in the UFC's middleweight division between the number 4 ranked Sean Tarzan Strickland, who comes into the fight with a record of 25 victories and 3 defeats, going up against the UFC newcomer and a newcomer to mixed martial arts with the training partner in Glover Teixeira. He's 5-1 as a professional mixed martial artist, but 33-7 as a professional kickboxer. The former Glory light heavyweight and middleweight champion in Alex Pohatan Pereira, who is also the only man to hold 2 victories in kickboxing, one via knockout and one via decision, over the man competing in the main event that evening, or the main event of UFC 276 in Israel, the last style bender Adesanya. So Alex Pohatan Pereira versus Sean Tarzan Strickland. Can Pereira make his way into the top 5 and get the title shot next? Or will Strickland derail the hype and put the trilogy on ice inside the UFC? We're about to find out this Saturday. All right, so when it comes to Strickland versus Pereira, I mean, it's kind of a toss-up because it's going to go one way or the other. Like, either Strickland is going to fight like he normally does, and he's going to stick behind the jab, use that Philly shell on the rear side, kind of catch and parry with the rear hand, and then come back with the 1-2, 1-2 left hook, overhand right, double jab, jab and circle off, right hand, left hook, double jab, right hand. He's going to stick behind the jab the entire fight. And, you know, Strickland's a wild man. He's not a normal individual, and I think a lot of people know that. The guy is just crazy. He doesn't care. Like, he walked down Uriah Hall, got the jab in the face, got his jab in his face, kind of started working him early, landing the combinations. I think he landed like, or threw over 200 strikes in just the first round, or at least over 100, and just constantly was walking forward, didn't give him any respect. Here's the thing. If you don't give Alex Pereira any respect, he's going to land that left hook on your chin and you're going to go face down on the canvas. Like, he's going to knock you out. You can't walk forward with reckless abandonment against one of the best kickboxers in the entire world. I know it's MMA. I know it's 4-ounce gloves. I know the distance is different. I know the in-close fighting is a little bit different, but you can't walk forward like that. If you walk forward like that against Pereira, he's going to crack your chin and you're going to be looking up, staring at the lights, wondering what happened. And Pereira is going to have the title shot in his next fight. That's just how it's going to go. I know a lot of people here are going to sit here and say that Pereira is going to get out wrestled, that Strickland's going to use his wrestling. He's going to take him down. He's going to work from the top position. We saw that he had a little bit of trouble with the takedown defense against Andres Mihailidis. We saw he had a little bit of trouble with the takedown defense against Bruno Silva. And, those are all true. I could definitely see Strickland maybe using the jab early on, and then once Pereira starts to time it, he kind of fakes the jab, steps in and gets the takedown, and then works from the top position to steal the rounds. I know we've heard that Strickland has a really solid ground game. We've heard he has really good jiu-jitsu. We saw a little bit of it in his fight against Uriah Hall. He was able to take him down. He was able to work from the top position. He was able to take the back of Uriah Hall, almost set up a rear naked choke. He was able to flow on the ground pretty well. And I think that if he uses that approach, it's definitely going to be an easier fight for him, because I do think that over 15 minutes, if he takes him down and works from the top, he's probably going to get the decision, or Pereira's going to give up his back and he's going to be able to submit him. But the thing is, that's not who Strickland is. Like, yeah, he's a smart guy, I guess. He's a smart guy in the cage. He looks like he's kind of stupid because of the way that he fights, but that's all the part of his game plan. It's like he looks dumb, but he's very smart. He walks forward, gets you behind the jab. He gives the people who he should give respect no respect. And if you don't respect their game and you walk forward and you just kind of get in their face with the jabs, get in there with the combinations, and constantly put them under the volume and break them, then it's going to get into their head. It's going to be, causing them mental fatigue, and it's going to affect their performance. That's what he did against Uriah Hall. He got in his face. He constantly was walking him down with the jab, walking him down with the 1-2, landing the left hook, the 1-3-2, the 3-2. And he was doing that, but you have to look at who he was doing it against. This is Uriah Hall. Now, Hall also fights on the card this night, but this was against Uriah Hall. That's a guy who we know has been broken before, a guy who we know has kind of been a head case in terms of his MMA career. We thought he was going to come off the Ultimate Fighter with that spinning wheel kick KO and be the next Anderson Silva. We thought he was going to go on to defeat Anderson Silva, and he did later in his career, but it wasn't at the point when we thought it was going to happen. And the thing is, Hall is a guy that if you pressure him and get in his face, you're going to break him. That's always been how he is. So Strickland doing that to Hall, it was impressive. It was impressive that he stuck behind his jab. It was impressive that he outstruck him. But he got in the face and bullied Uriah Hall. And we've seen in the past that Uriah Hall can be bullied. I'm sorry, but you're not going to bully Alex Pereira. The guy has awkward angles with his punches. He's got a phenomenal left hook. Like I said, probably the best left hook in combat sports. He can land those combinations. He rips the left hook to the body, jab, left hook to the body, left hook up to the head, and a right low kick. 1, 2, 3, hook to the body, right low kick, come back, cross hook. He lands the combinations at awkward angles, and that's going to be something that with the Philly shell style and the catch and shoot style of a Sean Strickland, he's going to be there to get caught because Strickland is not going to move his head. He has no sense of head movement. Everything that Strickland does is using his jab to keep you at a distance, catching your shots on his lead shoulder, or parrying it with the rear hand, coming back with the 2-3. Parry it with the rear hand, come back with the jab. Catch and shoot, catch and shoot. That's everything that Sean Strickland does. He uses good left high kicks. Sometimes he can mix up his combinations, 3, 4, 5 punches and land a lead high kick. I'm sorry, but if you get in the face of Alex Pereira, over a 15-minute fight, he's going to crack you on the chin and he's going to catch you. And I know Strickland's a good striker. He's a great boxer. But you know what else comes with a boxing style? A very narrow stance. You know what else happens when people are narrow stanced in MMA? They get their lead leg kicked off their body. And when you're going up against Alex Pereira, who is, again, one of the best kickboxers in all of MMA, one of the best kickboxers in the world. Like I said, 2 victories over Israel Adesanya, a KO and a decision. You're going to get that lead leg kicked off. Now, getting those low kicks off early can also open up the takedowns for Strickland. If he times it, shoots when Pereira goes to throw that low kick and gets him off balance, he can work his ground game. I know that people are saying Strickland's good pressure fighter. Strickland's going to wrestle. Strickland's going to get in his face and take him down. He's going to get on the top. He's going to win the rounds. That's the smart thing to do. But like I said, Strickland is a good fighter. He's a smart guy, like inside the cage in terms of a fight IQ aspect, but he also likes a brawl. He likes to prove you wrong. He likes to get in your face. He likes to pressure you. And can he do that against Pereira? I do think there are opportunities because we've seen in the fights with Alex Pereira, like against Bruno Silva and against Andres Mihailidis, but more the Bruno Silva fight. He did get pressured at certain points, and he loves to kind of use his long lead arm, like the long guard, to use that to circle off the cage. If you use that long guard and kind of try to run away, Strickland's going to try to catch you off guard, cut you off up against the cage, and then throw those shots up top and just try to drown you under the pressure. He's got good power, but the power is no match for Pereira. Pereira's power is completely different than Sean Strickland. And I know Strickland's got a good chin. I know Strickland doesn't take a lot of damage. I know Strickland's on this long win streak, 25-3. I know Pereira's only 5-1 as a pro MMA fighter. But the striking is on a completely different level. And if he gets those combinations together, the Dutchie combination, left hook, right low kick, left hook, 1, 2, 3, 3 to the body, right low kick, left hook on the return, 2, 3, 1, 2, hook to the body, right low kick, 1, 2, jab, left hook, right hand, left hook, double jab, right hand, fake the right hand into the left hook. He throws his punches at awkward angles that are a little bit harder for opponents to see, and they're not used to those angles and the timing in MMA. And I think that's going to catch Strickland off guard. I think he's going to walk into a shot with that Philly shell. Pereira's going to time it. Honestly, if I could pick how it was going to end, I think Pereira's going to start early with the low kicks, use the jabs, kind of get him like a little heavy on the feet. Strickland's going to get a little pissed off. He's going to walk forward. He's going to be like, well, I'm going to take you the fuck out. He's going to come forward and he's going to try to get in his face. When he throws that jab, Pereira's going to slip it off the center line with the left hook. Boom, catch him off a jab, drop him, jump on him, and get the finish. I'm going to go with Alex Pereira to defeat the number 4 ranked Sean Tarzan Strickland and via knockout. I think that left hook's going to be there. I think he's going to start low, work low, and come up high. So he's going to low kick shot to the body, up top to the head. He's going to work on the different levels throughout the fight for as long as it lasts. And with the Philly shell style and the lack of head movement, he's going to time one of those jabs, slip outside, and come over the top with a left hook, crack the chin of Strickland, and knock him out. So my pick is Alex Pohatan Pereira to defeat the number 4 ranked Sean Tarzan Strickland via a second round knockout, timing a left hook off the jab of Strickland. All right. And now we get to the co-main event of the evening in the UFC's featherweight division for the UFC 145-pound featherweight championship. You have the trilogy that shouldn't really be happening, in my opinion. I know people are going to disagree with me and probably rip me to shreds here, but this trilogy shouldn't really be going down right now. I mean, I guess it makes sense because it wasn't 3 in a row. And Volkanovski had 2 fights. Holloway had 2 fights since their last one at 251. But you've got the champion in the 24-1 Alexander the Great Volkanovski going up against the former featherweight champion in the number 1 ranked Max Blessed Holloway, who holds a record of 23 victories and 6 defeats. All right. Before we get into it, I want to talk about the stats a little bit because I think stats before the breakdown is important here. So let's start it here. So you got a 5'6", or Volkanovski stands at 5'6". Holloway's going to have a 5-inch height advantage coming back at 5'11". 71.5-inch reach for Volkanovski to a 69-inch reach for Holloway. So even though Holloway is the much taller guy, Volkanovski has a 1.5-inch reach or 2.5-inch reach advantage, which is kind of crazy considering how much taller Holloway is than him. Leg reach, Holloway's going to have a 6-inch leg reach advantage at 36 inches for the champion and Volkanovski to 42 inches for Holloway. You look at win percentages, 50% of wins coming by way of KO, 13 by submission, and 38 by decision for Volkanovski, compared to 45% by KO, TKO, 9% by submission, and 45% by decision for Max Holloway. Average fight time pretty close, 16 minutes and 6 seconds for the champion and Volkanovski to 15 minutes and 26 seconds for Max Blessed Holloway. 0.42 knockdowns per 15-minute fight for Volkanovski to 0.31 for Holloway. So he gets a little bit more knockdowns per 15-minute fight. Significant strikes, this is going to be pretty close. So you have 6.63 landed per minute for the champion and Volkanovski to 7.38 landed for Holloway. That's crazy numbers landed per minute. Both guys are so active. Significant strike percentage, you've got 57% for the champion compared to 47% for the challenger. You have 3.32 strikes absorbed per minute for Volkanovski to 4.69 for Holloway. So Holloway takes almost 2 more strikes than Volkanovski does. So Volkanovski's a little bit better defensively. But when you look at the defense compared to the numbers, it's neck and neck. 60% defense for Volkanovski to 60% defense for Holloway. I don't really feel like that makes a whole lot of sense because if you're taking more strikes per minute, how is your defense the same as Volk? But I guess you have more fights in the UFC than Volkanovski, so I guess that makes sense, but I don't know. When you look at the grappling takedowns per 15-minute fight, 1.95 takedowns for the champion compared to 0.31 for Holloway. You've got 36% takedown accuracy for Volkanovski compared to 66% takedown accuracy for Holloway. We saw him use his wrestling in his last fight against Yair Rodriguez. I could see him resorting to the wrestling here against Volkanovski, but I have a feeling he's going to want to keep it on the feet at striking range. 0.25 submissions per 15-minute fight for Volkanovski to 0.35 for Max Holloway. So I mean, breaking down the stats, I feel like they slightly favor Volkanovski everywhere you look at it, and the fight time's pretty close. You know, Holloway's got 2 losses to Volkanovski, and I know people are going to say, well, he didn't lose that second fight. He did lose it. It was very close. Holloway did hurt him, but I feel like Volkanovski did enough to win the rounds, especially the 4th and the 5th, and then one of them in the middle. I don't remember exactly, but I think Volkanovski won that second fight, 48-47. I think he clearly won the first fight, 50-45, 49-46. Whitewashed Holloway in the first one, and the second one was a lot closer. Holloway was landing that uppercut as Volkanovski tried to kind of crowd him, close the distance, and keep that high guard. He was landing that uppercut up the middle, landed a high kick too. That hurt him and wobbled him. I mean, he dropped him a couple times and hurt him, but he never was able to get him out of there. I've heard people say that they believe Volkanovski is going to be able to, or I'm sorry, they believe that Holloway is going to be able to finish Volkanovski, and Holloway's such a better fighter, and Holloway won. He's the uncrowned champ. Just beat Yair Rodriguez in a great fight, beat Kelvin Kattar in a phenomenal fight, and I agree. Like, he looked good in all those fights. He looked amazing in the Kelvin Kattar fight. That was a one-sided dominant ass whooping, and I love Kelvin Kattar, but I mean, that's just how the fight goes, and I'm just breaking it down objectively. And then you look at the fight against Yair Rodriguez, man, that was close. If they would have given that fight to Yair, I wouldn't have been mad at him. That's how close that fight was. 3-2 for Holloway makes sense. He used his wrestling later on, landed a beautiful double leg as Yair went in to close the distance and then turned the corner and ran the pipe very well up against the cage. Worked good on the ground. I think that we saw Holloway's wrestling, which is something we haven't seen in a very long time. He also has jiu-jitsu. As you guys know, he did submit Cub Swanson with a nasty guillotine choke. So if he does hurt Volkanovski, there is a possibility that maybe he grabs a hold of the neck and tries to submit him. But if Brian Ortega wasn't able to submit you, and you got out of those positions where you were like 98.9% done and you found your way out and then got on top and beat him up from the top position and rained down hammers from the stack guard, then I don't think Holloway's going to submit you unless you're literally basically knocked down on the feet and shoot a sloppy takedown. Listen, I love Holloway. I'm a big fan of Volkanovski. I always have been. I've been high on Volkanovski ever since I saw him beat Chad Mendes back at UFC 232, I believe. Yeah, I think it was 232. And listen, I understand why everybody is picking Holloway. I see a lot of people picking Holloway. They feel he won the second fight. I understand, but we can agree to disagree. And I think that Holloway, and I said this in a YouTube video that I made on my podcast YouTube channel. So if you haven't checked that out, go on YouTube, check out Touch 'Em Up Podcast, and look up the video I made with Alexander Volkanovski versus Charles Oliveira, a true super fight at 155 pounds. Go out of your way, check that out if you haven't already. But in the video, I said, I feel like Volkanovski is slowly but surely ascending to levels above where he was in the last fight against Holloway. I think that Volkanovski has gotten a lot better. He got a finish against the Korean Zombie, almost finished Brian Ortega, looked great in that fight as well. And I feel like he's getting better with each performance. He's slowly ascending everybody as the greatest featherweight of all time. Holloway looked great in the Kelvin Kattar fight. Looked absolutely phenomenal. One of the best performances, if not the best performance of his entire career. But against Yair, he got hit with a lot of kicks, a lot of high kicks, a lot of low kicks, a lot of kicks to the body, a lot of combinations up top with the hands. He was getting pieced up by Yair. I mean, he got hit a lot. I think if we can look up the strikes absorbed, let's see. I want to pull that up because I think that's interesting. Holloway versus Rodriguez. Hold on. We got him here? Okay, cool. All right, so Max Holloway landed 230 out of 404 significant strikes for a 56% accuracy. Total strikes, 251 out of 434. Yair landed 159 out of 352 strikes, significant strikes, which is mainly head strikes, body strikes, low kicks, but 186 out of 383. They were close, 56% accuracy for Holloway to 45% significant strike percentage for Yair. But Max Holloway took 159 or 186 strikes from Yair. And I know that Holloway has gotten hit before. You know, he got hit by Dustin Poirier. He lost that fight. He does take some damage, but he doesn't take damage like that. And I think that we saw that Holloway was more there to be hit in the last fight. And that's why I said I think he's regressing, because the fights are getting closer. And I know Yair's a great fighter. He's a top-level guy at 145 pounds, but, I mean, he got hit a lot. The defense wasn't there a whole lot against Yair. And if your defense isn't there against Yair, yes, I think Yair is a way better kicker in terms of power. I think that Yair has more power in the kicks. I think he's got a lot of power in the hands, but I do think that Volkanovski, with his timing and his unbelievable use of fakes and feints on the feet, with fake the rear hand, inside low kick, left hook or right hook into the inside low kick, left hook into the right low kick, jab, left hook, right low kick, whether it's inside or outside, depending on the stance. 1, 2, feint the rear hand, boom, pendulum step into the inside low kick, come back, left hook, overhand right. Feint the rear hand, inside low kick, right hand, left hook, roll underneath. The way that Max Holloway, or the way that Volkanovski is able to use fakes and feints, the way he's able to draw you in kind of like a matador, pulling you in like a puppeteer on a string. He's backing you up, he's pulling you in. He's backing you up, he's pulling you in. He's backing you up, and he's pulling you in. You saw it showcased tenfold against the Korean Zombie, where he just beat the living shit out of the Korean Zombie. Landed almost everything that he threw, pieced him up, dropped him multiple times. The right hand, the left hook, the 1-2, the 1-2 pull, 3-2, the 1-2, 3-2. They were all landing, and he was dropping Korean Zombie all over the place. And the ref stopped it at the beginning of the fourth round with a standing TKO after he landed that beautiful 1-2, and the Korean Zombie was kind of wobbly all over the place. He beat the shit out of the Korean Zombie, and Volkanovski just looks better and better. He looked good in the Ortega fight. Holloway beat the shit out of Brian Ortega at UFC 231. That was a good fight for Holloway too. But Volkanovski he survived adversity, more adversity. Well, no, Holloway had some adversity because Ortega caught him with some good shots on the feet and took his back, almost got the back to lock up a submission, but didn't happen. I just think that Volkanovski is better than Holloway everywhere the fight goes on. He's got more power. He's got the better wrestling. He's got the better top control. He's got the better use of fakes and feints and the better footwork. I think Holloway is better at distance, obviously, even though Volkanovski has the better reach, but Holloway's a lot taller. I feel like he can use that height to his advantage. You saw it in the last fight, too, landing the 1-2, pulling him in, stepping back, and landed the uppercut a la Kelvin Cater's Shane Burgos, but obviously not the same thing. Landing the uppercut as Volkanovski had the high guard and tried to step in because he likes to kind of high guard and step in. He uses a lot of left and right lateral movement, a lot of shuffle steps, a lot of pendulum steps, a lot of fakes and feints, feinting off the rear side, feinting off the rear leg, feint with the rear hand, lead low kick, feint with the rear hand, lead high kick, 1-2, left hook. He's just better everywhere, in my opinion. I know the second fight was close. I know he lost the first fight, pretty one-sidedly. Volkanovski won that, and I think he won the second fight 3-2, but it was close, and I understand why some people are upset. But, listen, I don't see anywhere that Holloway is better than Volkanovski over a 25-minute fight. And based off the fact that I think Holloway has gotten progressively more hittable, I think he's regressed since their last fight, and I think that Volkanovski has gotten better. It might be little slight margins that Holloway has regressed and Volkanovski has improved, but I just think that we're going to see a clear difference in this fight. And this fight has to be decisive, because if it's another close fight where fans cry robbery, I can't go with a fourth fight with Holloway and Volkanovski. They're great. They're two of the best in the entire world. They're the best featherweights on the entire planet and two of the best mixed martial artists in the world as well. And when you see that high-level fight, it's always a treat. But this fight has to be decisive one way or the other. And I think this is the one where Volkanovski TKOs Max Holloway. Now, I said that in the last one when I predicted 251. I said that I thought that was going to happen. But based off how much he got hit in the Yair Rodriguez fight, how much he was there to be hit, he never really got wobbled or anything like that, but he got hit a lot. And I think with the fakes and feints, the footwork, the lateral movement, the in and out style where he pulls you in and then pop, 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 pulls you in, pop, pop, pop. He's going to chop those low kicks. Those were there for Yair on a platter in their last fight. I don't think Max has addressed the low kicks. He's going to land those low kicks, work up top to the head. I think it's going to be Volk using the wrestling early to slow down Holloway. I think he's going to shoot some takedowns in the first 3 rounds, really try to tire him out. I think he's going to get those takedowns, work the top pressure, maybe land some ground and pound. I think Holloway's going to have some success with the 1-2s, the jabs, the front kicks to the body. I think we'll see him land a lot of kicks to the body because Volk is a lot shorter. He's going to look to land knees up the middle as Volkanovski tries to come in and close the distance. Front kicks, teep kicks, knees to the body, and those uppercuts, all the things up the middle, up the center channel. That's what Holloway's going to want to use. And then when they're at distance, obviously, you want to use that jab with some fakes and feints. But I just don't think – I think Volkanovski's on another level right now. I think that those overhands are going to be there. I think the fakes and feints, the wrestling, and I think he's going to just start piecing up Holloway the longer the fight goes on. I think he starts landing the combinations, lands the overhand right, the left hook, the overhand right, lands an uppercut of his own, lands a high kick. I think he hurts Holloway bad in this fight, and I think he finally puts him away. I think we see Max Holloway get finished for the first time. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, like, it's better to bet a decision. It's going to go to the decision. I get it. I understand. I think it could definitely go to a decision because, like I said, these guys are neck and neck. It's very good, but I think we're going to see who the true best 145er is this Saturday, and it's going to be Alexander the Great. And I think he's going to piece him up on the feet. He's going to wobble him. He's going to jump on him, hurt him, and put him out. So my pick is and still Alexander the Great Volkanovski to defeat the number 1 ranked Max Blessed Holloway via I'm going to go with the same pick I went with in the Korean Zombie fight, and it was right on the money. I think it's going to be on the money here. A 4th round TKO victory for Alexander the Great. It has to be decisive, whether it's Holloway beating Volkanovski, Volkanovski beating Holloway. This has to be decisive, and there cannot be any questions that are unanswered. There has to be a clear winner here because we can't see a 4th fight like Davison Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno. I'm not going to say – I mean, it's a great fight. I'll watch it every time it's on, but I want them to move on. I want this featherweight division to kind of gain its traction and move on. We got Arnold Allen in the wings. We got Movsar Evloev. We got Kelvin Kattar. We got Josh Emmett. We got a lot of guys at 45 that need to, move their way up the rankings. And if this fight continues to happen, it's not going to happen. So my pick is Alexander the Great Volkanovski to defeat the number 1 ranked Max Blessed Holloway via a 4th round TKO victory and retain his UFC featherweight championship. Now, if we look at the odds for this fight, let's see. Can I pull up DraftKings or do I have to log in to pull it up? Okay, so you got Volkanovski sitting at a minus 195 over a plus 165 for Holloway. I honestly think that Volkanovski should be a bigger favorite. I think Volkanovski should be like a minus 220. I think minus 195 is a steal on Volkanovski for this fight. And I know a lot of people are going to be back in the Holloway side, so I could see this line changing before fight night. So keep your eye on that. But I do think that Volkanovski does beat Holloway. And if you want to look at the finish props, Volkanovski to win by KO, TKO, or DQ is plus 330. Now, they've gone to decision in the first 2. I understand if it's too risky to play the Volkanovski side on the KO. I get it. I understand. I think that I get where you're coming from. Volkanovski to win by decision is plus 120. If you're going to look at a plus 120, just play Volkanovski straight up. If you want to play a Holloway, I'd play him straight up. If you want to play him to win by decision, it's plus 275. The overs in this fight, over 4.5 minus 255, under 4.5 plus 205. If the way I think the fight's going to play out goes down, then plus 205 looks pretty good. But maybe you don't want to play that. It is risky because they have gone to decision the first 2 times. But I think Volkanovski proves that he's on another level here. Maybe you back that by KO, TKO at plus 330. That's a juicy line, and I think it's worth throwing a little bit of sprinkle on there. I definitely think it's worth it. If you want to back Volkanovski, I think that's a good bet too, just straight up at the minus 195 as well. So do what you want, but my pick is Alexander the Great Volkanovski to retain his UFC featherweight championship via a 4th round TKO victory over Max Blessed Holloway. All right, and now we move to the main event of the evening for the UFC's undisputed middleweight championship. You have the champion and the man who's undefeated at middleweight with a record of overall in professional mixed martial arts 22-1. You have Israel, the last style bender, Adesanya, looking to defend his belt against the number 2 ranked Jared the Killer Gorilla Cannonier, who comes back with a record of 15 victories and 5 defeats. Cannonier's coming off that knockout over Derek Brunson, which earned him the title shot, and Adesanya's coming off of that decision victory over Robert Whittaker in the rematch at UFC 271. Great fight here. Absolutely fantastic fight. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one for sure. I know a lot of people are going to instantly write off Jared Cannonier. I understand it. I get it. They're going to say, well, Israel's on the top of his game, and he looks the best he's ever looked, and he just keeps winning. And I get it. It makes sense. But Cannonier is a former heavyweight, a former light heavyweight down at middleweight. And he's not at middleweight super sucked out with no energy. He's probably the best weight and body transformation I've ever seen in MMA. But he carries that heavyweight power. He carries that light heavyweight power down to middleweight. And if he lands on the chin of Adesanya, I think it's only really going to take one or two heavy power shots from Cannonier to put him out. But before we get into the prediction, let's look at some of the stats. So Adesanya 6'4", Cannonier 5'11". So it's a 5-inch height advantage for Israel Adesanya. He's got a 2.5-inch reach advantage with an 80-inch reach. Excuse me. An 80-inch reach compared to a 77.5-inch reach for the challenger and Jared Cannonier, and a 3-inch leg reach advantage at 44.5-inch leg reach to 41.5-inch leg reach for Jared the Killer Gorilla Cannonier. Look at win percentages. 68% of the wins coming by way of KO or TKO for Israel Adesanya. No wins by submission and 32% by decision. 67% of the wins coming by way of KO for Cannonier, 13% by submission and 20% by decision. Both of these men are finishers, neck and neck. 68% of the wins coming by way of KO for Adesanya, 67% of wins coming by way of KO, TKO for the Killer Gorilla Jared Cannonier. Average fight time, this is going to be heavily on the side of Adesanya, 17 minutes and 35 seconds compared to 10 minutes and 5 seconds for Jared Cannonier. 0.85 knockdowns per 15-minute fight for Adesanya to 0.57 for Cannonier. Significant strikes, 3.84 landed for the champion in Adesanya to 3.76 for Cannonier. Neck and neck there. Significant strike percentages, slight advantage for Cannonier, but virtually identical. 49% significant strike accuracy for Adesanya to 50% for Cannonier. 2.56 strikes absorbed per minute for the champion in Adesanya to 3.29 for Cannonier. 61% striking defense for Adesanya to 63% defense for Jared Cannonier. Grappling, takedown average per 15-minute fight. Adesanya does not shoot takedowns. I believe he got a takedown against Gastelum, but it was because Gastelum went to his back to defend the guillotine. 0.23 submission or takedowns per 15-minute fight for Cannonier. 0.23 takedowns per 15-minute fight. 50% takedown accuracy for Cannonier. 77% takedown defense for Israel Adesanya. He's been taken down by Jan Blachowicz. He got taken down by Marvin Vettori, and he's been taken down more recently by Robert Whittaker in a fight where a lot of people believe Whittaker did enough to win the title at UFC 271. A lot of people believe that Whittaker did enough to regain the gold. I thought it was a very close fight. I was honestly thinking that Whittaker won that fight too, but the decision went to the champion, and still 65% takedown defense on the side of Cannonier. I don't expect Israel to be shooting takedowns. If anything, he'll be defending them because I think Cannonier is probably going to want to close that distance, use his size and strength advantage, which he's going to have. He's going to be so much stronger than Adesanya, and use that over-under position up against the cage, hold him there, work some shots, try to strike off the break as Adesanya tries to circle off the cage. That's going to be where Cannonier does the most damage, is up against the fence. In submission average per 15-minute fight, 0.21 for Adesanya and none on the side of Cannonier. All right. So this fight is interesting. It's not a walk in the park for Adesanya. I know a lot of people think he's going to come out here. He's going to finish Jared Cannonier. He's going to put him out. And I get it. I understand why, but it's not that easy. I'm sorry. It's not that easy at all. And when I look at how I think this fight's going to play out, is I think it's going to be a little bit slower of a fight, because if Adesanya is too cocky, if he's too loose, too using a lot of taunting, fakes and feints, Hansel pulling his head back, slipping, rolling, trying to pull back and circle off the cage. Cannonier's good at setting traps. He's a crafty veteran. And if he plays with his hands low for too long against Cannonier, we could have another Chris Weidman, Anderson Silva moment. I would 100% believe that Cannonier can crack Adesanya's chin with that beautiful straight right, that beautiful left hook, and the beautiful right hook as he switches to southpaw. 100%, I think that if Cannonier lands on the chin of Adesanya, he can put him out. He's got the power. This is the strongest guy that Adesanya has ever fought. But if Adesanya plays like we normally see, and he's patient, but he's also not being cocky, and he's methodical, and he just picks them apart, jab, left hook, right low kick, 1-2, right low kick, feint the jab, feint the rear hand, right low kick, feint the rear hand lead high kick. If he uses his fakes and feints and picks them apart with the jabs, the low kicks, the teep kicks to the body, mixing it up with high kicks, landing the combinations as Cannonier tries to crash in and close the distance, then Adesanya can cruise his way to a decision. I think Cannonier's best bet would be to make sure you cut Adesanya off, push him against the cage, strike off the break in the clinch, get the takedowns up against the fence, use the over-unders, hold them there, use the trips. Try to get the takedowns and work from top position. Cannonier has a good ground game. We don't see it that often, but he's very strong, and I think he can hold Adesanya down if he takes him down. I'm telling you guys, he's so much stronger than Israel, so much stronger. And I think he can take him down, work from ground and pound. And if he gets Adesanya down and lands some of those elbows and ground and pound that he landed against Derek Brunson, he can put him out. And I know it sounds like I'm probably going to be picking Jared Cannonier here after the breakdown that I'm giving you right now. And I understand, and, I wouldn't be surprised if anybody was siding with the dog here, because Adesanya is currently at a, let's see, minus 400 favorite, I think. Let's see. Here we'll go fight odds. All right. Yeah, he's minus 425. So Cannonier's a plus 325 dog. I'm not brave enough to take the shot on the dog at plus 325 because I know it's Adesanya who's across from him. But if anybody's going to put Adesanya out, man, it's this guy. It's this guy, Jared Cannonier. He's got the power. He cuts off angles very well. Really good lateral movement, good low kicks, good high kicks from southpaw. He's got power in everything that he throws, but he's also very good at moving around. He's very light on the feet for a middleweight. And considering he was a former heavyweight, light heavyweight, he's very light on the feet. Very good lateral movement. The way he slid in and darted with that lateral movement with the right hook to get off on the angle against Gastelum that dropped him, it was beautiful. Very good at he's kind of skating around the octagon all the time. In and out. Lateral movement, left and right. Circling, bop! Circling, bop, bop, bop! He finds the angles. He can break off the clinch, turn you as he breaks off, get that outside foot on the angle, and have you turning into his power shots like he did against Gastelum and also like he did against David Branch when he got that knockout at middleweight. He had him turned. He had him in like the over-under position. He turned him. He had David Branch turning into him, and then boom, cracked him with a right hand, I believe, and hurt him and then jumped on him. He's got power. He caught Jack Hermanson with an uppercut and landed vicious ground and pound to put him out. Won the fight against Gastelum via decision. Knocked out Derek Brunson, like I said, catching him over and over again. Right hand, back fist, boom, boom. Boom, 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 taking him down or dropping him with elbows from inside the clinch. The best work that Cannonier is going to be doing is up against the fence with the wrestling and grappling or striking off the break and in the clinch with elbows, straight lefts, hooks, uppercuts. He's going to have to make this dirty. But he can, if Adesanya plays it too lackadaisical and plays it too cocky and is really measured but kind of plays that game where the taunting, the hands low, he's going to get knocked out. Like that's how much confidence I think I have in Cannonier if Adesanya doesn't take this seriously. But I'm banking on the fact that Adesanya is going to take the fight serious. He's going to poke and prod. He's going to play at a distance. He's going to jab low kick, jab front kick, high kick, 1-2, kind of play like the Costa fight and the Vettori fight, but a little bit more active in there. But I think we're going to see a little bit more hesitant of an Adesanya, but he's going to play it smart. And I think we're going to go to the scorecards. And my pick is going to be still. I'm going to go with Israel Adesanya to defeat Jared Cannonier via a 48-47 or 49-46 unanimous decision. I think he'll probably get 3 rounds to 2, so I'll go 48-47. But 48-47 unanimous decision for Israel Adesanya, the last style bender, to retain and defend his UFC middleweight championship. I think Cannonier's going to have his moments. He's going to get some takedowns. He's going to push Adesanya up against the cage, but I don't think he's going to land that shot that puts him out. It wouldn't surprise me if he did, but I got to ride with still here. Israel Adesanya to get the nod on the judges' scorecards and win via 48-47 unanimous decision. All right, that's going to be it for my UFC 276 predictions and breakdown. If you enjoyed this podcast, get it out to anybody you know who's a fan of professional mixed martial arts, professional wrestling, anybody you know who's a fan of mixed martial arts, who's a hardcore fan or a casual, get it out to them. Anybody you know who wants to learn more about the sport of mixed martial arts and what actually goes on in these exchanges, point them to Double M and the Touch 'em Up podcast. The podcast is available anywhere you get your audio podcasts. That includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Breaker, Stitcher, and many, many more. This podcast will be available in a full upload and individual fight uploads on YouTube later on in the week. So be sure to check those out as well. You can check out my YouTube channel at the same name as the podcast, Touch 'em Up Podcast on YouTube. We have some breakdowns. We have some short videos on topics in MMA, fighter breakdowns, predictions, anything you could want, I'm providing it to you. And I believe we are the number one most analytical and best MMA breakdown channel and podcast on the planet. Be sure to leave a review for this anywhere you can, including Apple Podcasts. You can drop a donation at on PayPal at BRUCELEROYLD@AOL.com. Hit me up with some donations if you like the content that I'm dropping and help support the dream. Thank you all for listening. I'm your host, Double M, and I'm out. Have a good night, everybody. All right.